Southampton Town Conservation Board meeting of April 14th, 2021. In accordance with the governor's executive orders, all of the board's meetings will be held remotely via video conference until further notice. So we ask the public to continually check the town's website for updates and new information. The link to participate in this meeting via Zoom can be found on the town's website. This meeting is also being live streamed on the town's website. If you do not wish to speak at the live meeting, but you would like to submit comments for the public record, the link to submit comments can also be found on the town's website. Board members who must recuse themselves from any application will state so on the record and will be removed from the meeting until the end of the discussion and vote on the application. Also, as a reminder, we ask that applicants and their agents please state their name and address for the record. I would now invite everybody to join together for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the roll call. Harry? Jerry?
Yeah.
Oh, I skipped Michael. There's Michael. Go ahead, Michael.
Present.
Sunshine?
Here.
And George?
Here.
I'm expecting Anne, but I haven't heard from her. I'm also expecting Tom, but he may be a few minutes late, but we'll proceed in the meantime as they try to get here. First on the agenda is what is your pleasure on the minutes of March 24th, 2021?
Motion to accept as written or amended.
Second.
All in favor? Harry, aye. Michael?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Sunshine?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Public hearings, A 019131, Lynn Prue revocable trust. And there's been a request for adjourning that till May 26th. Is there anyone in the public who'd like to speak on this application? Does anybody have their hand up in the public?
I see no hands.
Is there a motion?
Motion to adjourn to May 26, 2021.
Second.
All in favor? Harry, aye. Michael?
Aye.
Jerry?
Aye.
Sunshine?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
A 019100, the Colonel's Way LLC. And this has been open, I believe, but has not been presented. Who, Susanna, is that you presenting this?
That's me. I'm here. Good evening. Are you ready for me to proceed?
Yeah, actually, wait a moment because I see Ann is coming in.
Okay.
I'd like her to catch the beginning. There's Ann. And welcome. We are just beginning the public hearing for the Colonel's Way, and Susanna is just about to begin her testimony. Go ahead, Susanna.
Okay. So this property is actually, let me go ahead and share my screen if that's okay.
It is.
Okay, here we go. Share. All right. Can you see it?
Yes.
You see the survey? Okay, good. So this property is located at 55 Fish Cove Road in North Sea. There's an existing cottage that's been there for a very long time as a pre-existing certificate of occupancy, which also includes the boathouse that's down actually in the water. The existing house is proposed to be removed and a new house constructed on the site. we've put a lot of work into this project to try to make it the best possible project that could possibly be constructed on this very constrained site. The existing house is here. Can you see my cursor there? And that all the way up against the northern property line and 8 feet from the wetland line. And on the very edge of this bluff, there's a retaining wall that currently goes along the face of the bluff here. And we're proposing to take down that house, which is not in very good shape. It's a 1-story house, and reconstruct a new house, which would be in the area that's mostly clear on the site and flatter. And the slope is not as steep in this area. So it's a much preferable location compared to rebuilding in the existing footprint. The retaining wall would be removed from along the face of the bluff. The retaining wall also goes along the northern property line, and that would be removed as well. We had the surveyor locate all of the major trees in the area of disturbance, and it's heavily wooded except for the location where the existing house is located and the location where we're proposing the new house. We've designed the project so that only 1 tree would be removed as part of the project, and we're going to carefully preserve every other tree on the site. They're single and separate ownership, and they're separated by a street, but the same family owns the property across the street, directly across the street, where they've owned a home for generations as well. This property, I should mention, has been in the family for generations. Because they own the property across the street, and because this property is highly constrained, we've agreed to locate the sanitary system across the street on their other property, which is about, I believe it's about 20 acres. So there's plenty of room over here so that they can achieve a much better wetland setback for the sanitary system. It will be a denitrification system on the opposite side of the road. The existing system is probably 20 feet from the wetlands line, so we're greatly improving that situation. In addition, the parking for this cottage will be located across the street in an already existing gravel parking area, this little offshoot of the main driveway for the adjacent property across the street would be used for parking for this street, for this proposed house. So obviously easements would be required for that, but we're willing to go through that process to get an easement from one property to the other, and also from the town in order to put the septic line underneath the road. The existing house, as I mentioned, is 8 feet from the wetlands. We've kept pretty much the same square footage, a little bit more living space compared to the existing house, which is all on the survey here. The coverage stays basically the same. They're eliminating the boathouse, eliminating the shed, and the new house would have a footprint of 977 square feet. It's just a 1-story house. So it's a 977 square foot house with a screened porch. And it's been designed to be as long and skinny as possible in order to achieve the best possible wetland setback and setback from the top of the bluff. As I mentioned, the retaining wall that goes along the top of the bluff will be removed. There's also a retaining wall along the street that's going to be reconstructed. But we've made great efforts and met with Marty a couple times at the property and made multiple revisions to downsize the house and to improve the proposed site plan as much as possible. A lot of work has gone into the project. We've also presented a revegetation plan. Can you see that? So that there's only a tiny area of lawn on the property and a 5-foot gravel walkway that would go around the house, and the rest of the property would be revegetated with native vegetation according to this plan. There's existing steps that go down the bluff to a dock that needs to be reconstructed. That all would be reconstructed using open grate decking and non-treated wood. And we're also going to be relocating that over to the south to a location where the bluff is not as steep, so that it will have less impact and less potential erosion to the bluff there. You can see on this plan, it's a little harder to see on the survey, but you can see on this plan the circles here. These are all trees that are to be preserved, that will be protected. The landscape architect has put together a tree preservation plan where there's a secondary project limiting fence that will be added after the initial house is removed in order to protect the roots as well as the entire tree. So the homeowner is very vested in protecting the environment and protecting the property, preserving the bluff, preventing erosion, and we've tried to put together the best possible project for this site, and we've put in a lot of work. So if anyone has any questions, that's basically the project.
Susanna, the purpose of the retaining wall?
The one along the road,
No.
the retaining wall that's there now is to be removed. It's been there probably for 100 years. It only goes down about 7 to 12 inches below grade. So it's not really doing anything right now. The existing foundation wall of the existing house, as I mentioned, is 8 feet from the wetlands and right at the edge of the bluff. That retaining wall / foundation wall is what's holding up the house. And there's actually a tree growing out of that. I don't know if I have a good picture of that.
Why are we removing the retaining wall?
Because it's not providing any structural support at this point and is only going to continue to crumble and cause potential erosion.
Well, my concern is if you remove what you have there, is it possible that there may be some erosion into the cove?
I don't think so. I mean, we're going to have a project limiting fence put in place ahead of time, and the foundation and the retaining wall are going to be removed by hand. There's no heavy machinery that's going to be required.
I mean, over time, and, you know, rainstorms, so forth and so on.
Well, the retaining wall isn't really doing anything productive, so there's no reason for it to remain. It doesn't go down very deep. We had the engineer look at it. We had the contractor go out and do a shovel test to see how deep it goes. And
Well, has Marty looked at it and considered the possibility of any of that land eroding into the cove after you remove?
I don't want to put words in his mouth, Marty, if you want to respond to that.
Sure, I'd be happy to respond. The landowner and Susanna and I have been actually working on this project since June of 2017, when we initially met. And much of that process involved looking at practicable alternatives for the site, with the goal of ensuring that any new construction on the property would not destabilize the slope and adversely impact the on-site wetlands. As was indicated, we found that the best path to achieving that goal was to position the house into a level area of the property where the slopes are less steep. There's little natural vegetation. So that allows you to provide sufficient setback away from that slope so that there's no risk of impact, erosion, or slope destabilization. As indicated, the existing concrete retaining wall is very shallow. I agree with the applicant's testimony that it's really providing no function or purpose at this time. It's crumbling. It can easily be removed by hand. As indicated on the applicant's drawings, not only are we looking to protect virtually all the existing natural vegetation, but also to revegetate those areas that are disturbed during demolition and construction of the new home. And that additional supplemental vegetation is going to go a long way towards stabilizing both the headland and the bluff itself. So there's no risk of erosion or adverse impact. The relocation of the stairway is also going to be most beneficial, as well as the location of the sanitary system and parking across the road. That allows us to proceed with a very tight building and disturbance envelope. As indicated, the applicant and I have spent a considerable amount of time at this property. And the plans that you see in tonight are the consequence of all the hard work that we've put into this. The plans that you're seeing are excellent. Everything possible is being done to maximize wetland setbacks and to mitigate the impacts by preservation of existing natural vegetation, existing trees, and also by replanting. As you can see, when Karina panned out, this is actually a very long piece of property along the shore of Fish Cove. So property, the entire remainder of the property outside of the new house footprint is going to be covenanted as a wetland preservation area and naturally vegetated wetland non-disturbance, non-fertilization buffer. In addition to the boathouse, there's considerable storm-borne debris along the shore, which the applicant has agreed to clean up. As was indicated by the applicant, one of the primary focuses of our evaluation of the site conditions was not only slope protection, but preservation of the existing large trees at the site. And whereas earlier plans, as discussed by my preliminary advisory report from July 22nd, 2020, could have resulted in very significant impacts. This plan that you're seeing is well thought out. It works for the site. It has the environmental sensitivity that's needed. So I can say that I fully support this plan. The applicant will be coming back with a final survey that wraps those covenanted buffers tightly around the residents. So I think that we've done everything practicable in order to minimize impacts at the site. The residence is not large that is being constructed. It's only going to be 1 story. So I think this is a good plan for this site. And it certainly meets the wetland permit issuance standards with regards to maximizing setbacks and maximizing protection of buffers and existing natural vegetated areas. So I'm recommending that the board support and approve this plan and that they close the hearing tonight.
Excuse me, Susanna, this is Jerry Collins. Do you anticipate any problems with cutting into the road to bring the septic system, plumbing over to the other side? Have you approached the town about that?
Just very preliminarily, but we don't anticipate that there will be a problem. It's been done before. I've spoken with the health department, who I assumed would have issues with it, but they have approved much bigger projects where the septic system is across the street, including, as Marty pointed out to me, the new condos along the canal. Those have a septic system across the street, and an easement was worked out with the town for that situation. So I don't anticipate that there will be a problem with that.
Good. I think it's a great plan. I'm happy to see it.
I didn't think it was possible to put the septic across the street, but I've been proven wrong, to my surprise. So the applicant has agreed to do that, and we don't have to cut down trees for that. That was the way that we were able to save a lot of the trees that were going to come down, because in order to put a septic on this site, we were going to need retaining walls and regrading and, a long septic system with lots of rings. So this is a much better system.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great plan.
Susanna, 2 questions. One is, what is the setback from the bluff of the new house?
It's 10 feet.
Okay. And with the septic
Existing
system,
is 0.
with the septic system going across the street, is that designed to be a gravity system? Or
No,
you need to put it across?
A pump will be required. Yeah. A pump's required because the grade goes up as you get farther away from the water. So the engineer has designed it to include a pump.
What do you do in case of a power outage? Generator? We brought that up. One other application had a similar.
I'm trying to remember if that's necessary.
Okay. Maybe
It would be wise if not necessary. One other possibility that I was thinking about as you were giving your presentation is, if you were to locate the holding tank next to the house, and there may not be room, but if there is room, then the pump would be only pumping out the more clean water and less likely to experience problems.
The house is proposed only 6.8 feet from the street property line.
That's pretty tight.
Yeah, it gets to 10 feet at this site. I mean, I don't think it's possible.
Yeah, I can also assure the board that in the event that the Suffolk County Department of Health Services wants to see a generator, I'm happy to work with the applicant to find an appropriate location for that generator. I also don't think it's going to be necessary, but in the event that it is necessary, we can locate that on the site within the planned site disturbance area.
A generator for the septic system would not be a very large generator. It doesn't use very much power. Or you could get an easement to use the bathroom on the other side of the street too. That's a joke.
What's with the house on the other side of the street that they own? They own both properties, you said, right?
Well, there's an existing house on this site. It is a single and separate lot. And it would not be permissible under zoning to put another cottage on the property across the street.
This house that's on there now in the present condition, when was the last time someone lived in it?
I don't know off the top of my head, but not since we started this process a couple years ago.
Pretty dilapidated, correct?
Correct.
I think this is a horrible plan. I don't even think a house should be built over here, right on Fish Cove.
Well, it does have a certificate of occupancy.
It does, but it's also in disrepair. I think this is ridiculous, to be honest with you.
I would just indicate that, of course, this property is residentially zoned. So, as such, the landowner is permitted to maintain or build a residence on this property, recognizing the environmental sensitivity of the property. I think we've done everything possible to mitigate impacts. Yes, I understand your concerns, but at the same time, the landowner is legally permitted to maintain and or construct a residence on this site.
I don't have a problem with the property owner being able to build what they're allowed to build. I just think now how constrained this lot is and how and the disrepair of the building and leaving a wall up to rebuild, I don't think it would ever happen. I think it's 6.8 feet off the road, 10 feet off the water, putting in, a house that hasn't been lived in many years. Now is going to have a family living there, dumping, more nitrogen into that area. I think it's a very tiny lot. How wide is it? How wide is this lot actually? Let me see. It is, so we have 6 to 8, 20, 30 feet by what? That's a shoebox.
It's 71 feet wide on one side and 62.59 on the other. The total property is, where's our area? The lot area, it's over half an acre. It's 22,991 square feet. Most of that's being preserved. And just to correct the numbers for the record, the existing house is 8 feet from the wetlands. The new house would be over 20 feet from the wetlands. And let me zoom out. You may be getting a false impression because I'm so zoomed in on the small area of the building. Here's the entire lot. All of this is everything on the southern portion of the property is going to be left completely natural, and it's heavily wooded. We located some of the trees on the property, but we didn't locate every tree in the forest. So this entire area is
It's not a forest, it's a wetland.
Well, it is on wetlands, but most of the property is forested, and we're cutting down only one tree in order to reconstruct a house farther from the wetlands with the septic system that's there now is, probably 30 feet, 20 feet from the wetlands, and is just a hole in the ground. So we're putting in a denitrification system across the street, which is obviously far superior.
I think that's great. I think that's awesome that you thought outside the box to do that. I just think that this project's ridiculous.
We had initially explored whether or not the existing residence could be repaired or partially reconstructed in the same footprint. I had a lot of concern about doing that because the existing residence is perched right at the edge of a very steep slope. There's a crumbling supporting retaining wall. So I thought it made a lot more sense rather than try to repair that house in its existing location to build a new house on the flatter ground. The house, of course, is pre-existing non-conforming, so the landowner benefits from grandfathered setbacks from the road. That's what enables the landowner to again build within very close proximity to the road. As indicated in my preliminary advisory report, I had very significant concerns about trying to reconstruct the house in its present location. This plan again is the product of the applicant and I spending a lot of time considering various alternatives. The possible location of the sanitary system across the road was one of the recommendations that I had made early on. And it's good to see that that has worked out, because I think if we had to locate the sanitary system adjacent to the residence, it would be very difficult to rebuild the residence without very significant adverse impacts.
I don't think you could build a residence where that building was. And I think the adverse impacts are knocking that building down, pulling all that concrete out, rebuilding a new house. And now that property is going to be lived in when for years it hasn't been. I think it's a disaster. That's my
Until
opinion.
recently, the property's been occupied and used by the family for, I think, about 100 years. I think it's from about 1924, if I'm not
Pull
mistaken.
up that picture of it again that you have.
I'll go into pictures. I did want to show George, you were concerned about the wall, the retaining wall. This is, I don't have any great pictures of it, but this is the wall here. You can see it's not much. It's not holding up anything. But that's the boathouse. That's to be removed. That's the existing house. The foundation can
Those Anderson windows.
that's probably the best view of the house.
So Suzanne, let me ask you this. What have they been using the property for? The house? You said they used the house. They've been living in it? They're putting guests have been sleeping in it?
I think if family members have been using it up until just a couple years ago.
I'd like to see this property.
I got a couple of questions. Marty, I have a question for you. How would you characterize the bluff in terms of stability and potential erosion?
Right now,
Let me clarify that. Potential erosion from Fish Cove, not from rain and runoff, but from the water.
there's a little bit of undercutting of the lower toe of the embankment and bluff, as is to be expected in an area like this, but it's not of an extent where it's threatening the stability of the larger wooded slope. The majority of the slopes are wooded. And as indicated, the remainder of the property is wooded. I think, again, if you try to rebuild in present house location and try to either repair or reconstruct the foundation in that location, yeah, there would have been great concern on my part in terms of destabilization of the slope. But based upon my site observations and the temporary measures that'll be taken during construction, I don't see that construction of the new house as is currently planned is going to destabilize that slope.
We are
Marty,
moving,
you spent a lot of time on this property. Does that, what would you say the condition of this building is? Have people been living in it? Can you sleep in this building?
Are you asking me that question?
Yeah, you've been there a
Yeah,
bunch of
Yeah,
times.
I'm happy to address that. The house is not habitable in its current state. It's in a very degraded condition. We did spend a lot of time looking at the foundation. And in order to renovate and restore the house, you would have to proceed with much difficulty because of the steep slopes. And when we have a situation like this, it's always best to look at building a new home in a more secure location. So in its present state, the house is not habitable.
For a couple of years, has it been uninhabitable?
I would say it's probably a little bit longer than that. I was initially there in June in 2017, and I would question whether or not the house could have been inhabited at that time. So it's been in a failing state for some time.
So it's kind of like the tennis court over at 186 Crescent, Susanna, that you said was there. And then I went to that property, it wasn't. When you come before this board and you're going to give testimony, I don't want to be misled. I have a problem with that. So I would like myself and anyone else that's interested on this board to look at the property. And I'd like to put some time over there so that I can see what's going on.
I've never, ever meant to mislead this board. I've been coming before this board since 1996. You're the first person to ever accuse me of misleading this board.
Okay, well, if you go back
Not
to,
my intention.
well, if you go back to one of the meetings that I just mentioned, I was
The tennis
misled to
court is
think that,
under construction.
and then you just said
No.
that people can be sleeping in this and
I
using
didn't say
this
that.
property for the past couple of years. How could someone use this when it's obviously a public health? It's not safe. I'm sure it's a safety issue over here.
It's
From
currently not
Marty's.
inhabitable. I didn't say it was.
Okay.
Michael, you said some strong words about this testimony, this presentation, and your feelings on this house. I want to try to understand that in the context of 325. What are you saying now in terms of this new project? Why does it not meet the conditions for issuance of a permit?
I mean, I'm sure it could meet the conditions, but I feel as though there's information that's missing that I would like to get by visiting the property, because I feel as though there have been things said that could mislead me to thinking otherwise. And I'd like to get my own eyes on the project to see if it's something where this house could be fixed up in the condition it is, and maybe the septic system and IA system put in, and another alternative be done for this property. I'm not a fan of how tight this property is on Fish Cove with putting in a brand new house and knocking down one that maybe possibly being saved. If people were using this property for the past couple of years, then maybe it's in good enough condition to fix it. So there's other alternatives out there. I'd just like to see it for myself.
Well, that actually is not an alternative. That's the first part of the program that they talked about. This is one of the alternatives. And they've gone through several alternatives, although they have not presented all of them to this board. But the testimony here is that Marty does not support repairing the existing house, and the applicant is not interested in repairing the existing house. That being the case, we cannot rule that they must repair the existing house.
Yeah, we did explore that opportunity. We did, one reason this project has taken so long to come to a hearing is because we've been exploring different alternatives and meeting with staff to improve the project and to look at every potential impact and to mitigate that and to lessen that to the greatest extent possible. If you look at the footprint of the existing house, it's very close. It's within, a couple feet of the property line, and this adjacent property is wooded. So if you were to try to, dig a new foundation, which would be necessary, the foundation that's there is not in a condition that could really be preserved. It needs to be replaced. It's crumbling. It's not constructed to current standards as far as the safety of the foundation, stability. And in order to dig a new foundation in this area, you would, if you walk this property line, you'll see that there are trees, and the roots for those trees would have to be severed, and you would risk damaging the roots on the adjacent properties. Removing the house can be done quite easily because the foundation is not very deep, and it could actually be done by hand with no heavy equipment. So that was something that's been taken into consideration. You just haven't been part of that. I actually wanted to bring this to the board much sooner and show you all of the iterations that we've been through. I mean, the house has been looked at from every possible angle, different locations, flipping the house and the septic system, on site, building in this footprint, expanding to the south. And then when we realized we could put the septic across the street, it became very obvious that the solution was to move the house to the flatter, clear part of the property where we could achieve a greater setback in a location that is not as steeply sloped. The bluff in this portion of the property is not nearly as steep as it is directly in front of the existing house. So also, by constructing a new house as opposed to working within the existing footprint, you can redesign it so that it's skinnier and thereby achieve a better wetland setback. So we're going from an 8-foot wetland setback to 20.3 foot wetland setback. And we're going from a 0 bluff setback to 10 feet in an area that's much more stable, much flatter, and we don't risk injuring the trees that surround it, with the exception of one lone tree that unfortunately sits right in the center of this area. But if you were to reconstruct in the initial location, you would risk all of the trees that are along the property line here and the bluff. So this is a much better solution. We've had engineers out at the site, our landscape architect, we've met with Marty at the site multiple times, and we really do feel that this is the best possible site plan for this property.
Okay, we've heard a lot of testimony. We need to make a decision. The applicant has asked for the hearing to be closed. Marty has recommended it be closed. Michael wants to be open to we can visit the property. So we need to make a decision. I don't know how many board members want to visit the property and want to keep it open. One option is that we close the hearing with a 10-day written comment period. And where, Michael, you can visit the property and you can submit more into the record.
I'm happy to meet you over there, Michael, and walk the site and go through explanations and all our reasoning for everything that we're proposing here.
Yeah, I mean, I want to go to the property, whatever the board sees fit, I'm fine with it. I just,
I think that if Michael wants to visit the property, I think we should keep the hearing open and give us all some opportunity to get there without being in that 10-day comment period.
And if any other board member wants to chime in, I'm all ears.
Mm,
Essentially, what it comes down to is how many board members want to close this hearing? How many want to adjourn it?
I want to adjourn it.
So we've got 2 people that have said they want to adjourn it.
I don't have a problem holding it open one more time.
There's 3.
I don't care. Whatever's on the next meeting, one more.
I would go along with them, not adjourn the meeting and let Michael and anybody else who wants to see it.
I
And I'll
agree
go
with that as
tomorrow,
well.
So I won't wait.
Okay, so we have to keep this hearing open for one more. We have 3 hearings scheduled for the next meeting, April 28th, and 3 the following meeting, and 3 the following meeting. The testimony has been done here.
So
There is not a obvious conflict here that we do sometimes have. And I suggest that perhaps there's not going to be a major conflict, so it may go fairly quickly when it comes up again. I say that hesitantly because I never know for sure. So I'm going to suggest that we adjourn it then for 2 weeks to April 28th, if that is okay with the rest of the board.
I'll make that motion.
I'm okay. Second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Harry, aye. Michael,
Aye.
Jerry,
Aye.
Sunshine,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
and there we have it. See you back here in 2 weeks. If anybody
Just
else
remember-
wants to visit the property,
Remember the quorum if somebody wants to go visit it with Susanna and Michael. Just remember to, there should
we
be.
have 3 board members visit, maximum of 3 board members.
I'm gonna go in the morning, Suzanne. Is that all right?
That's fine. Do you want me to meet you over there?
You don't have to.
Okay, however you want to do it. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you want to shoot me an email between now and the next hearing, I'm happy to answer any question that you have. We've put so much work into this.
All right. No, thank you.
And Michael,
Likewise, I'm also happy to answer any questions that the board members may have.
Great.
and Michael, if you see something that I should know about, please give me a text or call me.
As always, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Susanna.
All right, thank you. Have a
See
good
in
night.
2 weeks.
Thank you.
All right, the next hearing is A 020040 James and Elizabeth Lou Rumpkus. Is there someone here for them?
That would be Kieran Pate.
They're coming in.
And Charlie?
They're coming in.
Here she is.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay, great.
can't see you yet, but I can hear you.
Oh,
There,
now you can see, I can see me. Okay,
that's a good start.
all right, good. Can you see me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we-
Okay, great.
Okay, bring us up to date on this application, please.
Okay, the applicant and I met with Marty Shea on the property. And Marty was generous enough to take his time and really go through the property with us. It's an old house. It has a pre-existing garage. And we have come up with, well, actually, Marty came up with a plan that allows my client to have a pool. And it also allows for a buffer. he's going to remove his deck and what else? Yeah, we're very happy with the proposed conditions that we worked out with Marty.
Good. And Marty,
Yes, we actually probably spent about an hour and a half at the property looking at every practicable alternative for the site. Looking closely at the site conditions, the existing improvements, the conditions of the property, and what makes sense in terms of moving ahead. As was indicated during the first hearing, there is an unauthorized deck area on the seaward side of the house, as well as an unauthorized stone patio. You'll also note that on the east and northeast side of the house, there's considerable concrete slab and cemented slates. What we found would work out best for this site is to have that deck and patio removed, as well as to take out all of the concrete improvements on the east side of the residence to replace that cemented walkway with a pea stone path to maximize the covenanted naturally vegetated wetland non-disturbance, non-fertilization buffer at the property in a manner that protects a large maple on the site. The establishment of that buffer would not only call for removal of those accessory improvements, but existing fence lines and hedge lines as well. And the area would be restored to native seaside coastal vegetation. The landowner had staked out the footprint for the pool. And if you were to visit the site, you could see that this is a very small pool. It would be a precast pool, no gunite, no need for significant construction activity. The applicant is proposing a very minimal patio area. I offered that with this buffer, that patio area could be expanded upon as long as it's constructed with pervious pavers. We looked at the option of salvaging some of the mahogany boards from the existing unauthorized deck to construct a new deck around the immediate perimeter of the pool. And the applicant decided he'd rather go with a pervious patio. We looked at the option of installing a pool roadside on this property. It's not very workable, not only because of where the existing sanitary system is, but where the septic line and driveway comes in. You could see the garage doors on the west side of the existing garage. The garage is in great shape. If it was in a deteriorated state, I might offer that we should look at demolishing that garage. We looked at possibly locating the pool between the garage and the road, and it doesn't make sense. And I don't think they would get the necessary zoning variances, and they would have to take out a very large cherry tree on the roadside. So the area where the pool is proposed is an existing disturbed lawn area. The remnants of a lawn on this property are not fertilized or maintained with chemical. With establishment of this buffer, there would be substantial benefits in terms of wetland dependent wildlife. The buffer would go a long way towards filtration and cleansing of any contaminants contained in heat runoff. The applicant is ready to work with me on a native planting plan for the site, and is looking to install considerable stock in order to offer some privacy from the adjacent road end. So I think this plan would substantially improve this section of Sag Harbor Cove. As indicated, I support this plan for the site.
Thank you, Marty.
Yes.
Does the board have any questions?
Okay.
Is there a motion to close this hearing?
So moved.
Close the public hearing.
Second,
To move in second, all in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry,
aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
All right.
Sunshine?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you.
The next hearing is A020044, Jason and Allison Libnitsky. And Marty, who is the agent for this one?
The is the owner,
They're coming in now.
in Libnitsky.
Hi, Rob Pachetti, the attorney for the Libnitskys. Jason Libnitsky should be joining us as well. I believe he has his hand up. I know he's listening, so I'll continue on, and I'm sure he can join in. So since the last meeting, my client had some good productive conversations and communications with Marty. They met a couple of times and exchanged some sketches, and Marty went back out to the property to take another look. The result being that the pool was shifted significantly to the west. The wetland setback increased, in the various areas to 81.5, 82.3, and 85. This spot over on the east there, changing from the original 69, I think we had proposed, to 85, so a significant shift. The buffer is increased, especially on the east side. This was all sort of brought to sort of a final understanding just in the last day or so. So we have not had a chance to add this to the survey. So what we're hoping, and obviously I'll let Marty, confirm for himself, but what we're hoping is to adjourn to the April 28th meeting to put this onto the survey. But we believe, and again, Marty can confirm, but we believe we have some understanding as to what we're doing. Marty, is that?
We we don't always have to have the all the plan, everything on the survey in order to close the hearing, but there will have to be an updated survey to issue a permit.
Yes, so by all means, we're happy to conclude as much as possible, and then we understand we have to get the final survey.
Okay. All right, Marty?
Yes, Karina, if you could put the sketch that I did up on the screen for the board. I would start by saying that the landowner and I have given this project a considerable amount of attention with regards to undertaking the required practicable alternatives analysis, and the applicant is offering to do several things. Right now, there's an existing treated wood deck attached to the residence. The applicant has offered to demolish and remove that deck and replace that deck with an untreated deck, which is most beneficial on a property like this that fronts a freshwater pond. The applicant has, by redesigning the pool and the new deck and shifting the improvements to the west, the applicant has significantly increased the wetland setbacks by as much as 20 feet from the former plan that was considered at the last hearing. The applicant is also agreeing to provide for considerable additional woodland buffer. The east side of the property to the right of the pool is an area that gradually slopes down towards wetlands, whereas the area where the pool and deck is proposed is flat, level ground, much more suitable for building. The slashed area that you're seeing on this plan is the additional covenanted restored buffer zone that I have recommended, which the applicant has wholly agreed to. That would enable us to expand upon the existing forest in the most environmentally sensitive areas of the property. As part of this plan, the applicant would also be rerouting the water service line to the well, which is alongside the proposed pool location. The expansion in buffer would increase the buffer. The current buffer in that area is actually only about 60 to 65 feet. The applicant would increase the buffer in that area from about 65 feet to 85 to in excess of 90 feet. That's being done to offset the setbacks of the pool that are shy of the required 100 feet. Today, I did have an opportunity to meet with the landowner, at which time we explored further whether or not the construction envelope could be tightened up a little bit more. It's very difficult to do that. And again, in agreeing to the buffer expansion, I think that buffer would offer a sufficient mitigation for the pool and new untreated wood deck in its planned location. So I'm actually recommending that the hearing be closed tonight, as both the landowner and I have an understanding, wherein the next step would be for the applicant proceed with having this information shown on a revised survey. These areas will, of course, be covenanted. The pool will be a no chlorine or saltwater pool. The elevation of that area is significant, so there are no issues with regard to vertical buffers above groundwater, as indicated. It's a level area. There is an existing retaining wall. It's more of a decorative wall on the pond side where the pool is proposed. It was many years ago constructed with treated wood. The applicant has offered to take out that wall, which is a plus as well. So I support this plan. I think it's a plan that works well for this site, and I would recommend that you close the hearing tonight.
If I could just clarify one point, because I know you have the note about shifting the pool and the deck, but just to confirm, we're talking about keeping the pool in this proposed spot here with the 82.3 setback that's shown on there. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. And I should also point out, on the west side of the property, you see a deer fence that extends into the existing buffer and planned supplemental buffer. That deer fence was installed by the budding landowner. So I'm having that landowner cited so that that fence line will be taken out. And on the east side of the property, you see a short section of wood fence in the proposed buffer area. That fence would be taken out as well. So consistent with the board's policies and standards, there would be no fence within the buffer. Any newly required pool enclosure fence would run along the landward boundary of the buffer. And yes, to confirm again, I'm recommending that the pool and patio and deck area as shown be approved.
Thanks, Martin.
Welcome.
Does the board have any questions?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second,
All in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll move on now to the advisory reports. for the
Thank you
planning
very
board.
much.
Thank you.
Aye.
West Hampton Country Club site plan application.
This is a pending site plan application for the West Hampton Country Club golf course. They had previously received site plan approval to demolish existing buildings, several buildings in order to allow for construction of a new building and storage bins, as well as to install new nitrogen reducing innovative alternative on-site wastewater treatment systems. Although the initial approval did conform with the required wetland construction setbacks, we found that it would necessitate removal of several large trees, as the country club is interested in preserving those trees. They came back with a modified plan that would allow for the needed tree preservation, and again with a plan that yet wholly conforms with the required wetland construction setbacks. So the advisory report provides a description of these activities, which I've spoken to, and also provides a recommendation that those portions of the wetland buffer where we have an existing evergreen hedgerow and berm, that those grade changes in ornamental vegetation be removed in the interest of planting native vegetation. The applicant has agreed to those measures. So I think these modifications to the already approved site plan would be beneficial with regards to wetlands protection. As such, the advisory report supports these modifications.
Motion to send those comments to the planning board.
Second.
All in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
For the ZBA, Liliana Danzo.
Briefly, this is a site, is partially in the Village of Quogue and partially in East Quogue. It's an existing residence that bordered a freshwater creek. The Conservation Board had issued a wetlands permit in order to make some minor improvements to the existing residence. The permit was conditioned upon establishing a covenanted wetland preservation area and restored buffer area, which the applicant has agreed to. The plan does need minor variances from the zoning board. They had submitted an initial survey, which was not entirely consistent with the Conservation Board approved survey. The ZBA has just forwarded an updated survey today, which is consistent with the plan approved by the board. So this is an advisory report which supports the necessary relief in order to go forward with the Conservation Board approved plan.
Motion to send those comments to the ZBA.
Second.
All in favor? Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
The administrative wetland permits are in your packets. We'll move on for the resolution of conditional approval. A021014 John Newen House and Audrey Newen House. Any discussion?
Move to issue.
Is there a second?
Second.
Resolve that a conditional wetland permit approval be granted to John E. Newen House and Audrey Newen House for the proposed project on the terms and conditions set forth therein. All in favor?
Aye.
Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
A020041 Horizon Partners. Any discussion?
Move to issue.
Second.
Resolve that a conditional wetland permit approval be granted to Horizon Partners WH LLC for the proposed project on the terms and conditions set forth therein. All in favor? Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
Preliminary review of signature determination, A020023, William S. Gay II and Peter T. Foley.
This application relates to an existing residentially developed property at Little Fresh Pond Road in the Hamlet of North Sea. There is a preliminary advisory report on file dated April 13, 2021. The application needed to be made as the applicant had constructed a deck, pond side, and a wooden step leading down a grass slope to the pond edge without the requisite wetland permits. They're also looking to construct a detached garage on the landward side of the house to reconfigure the existing pervious drive. Upon visiting the site twice, reviewing the town records, and touring the property with the recent owners, I found there was significant other hardscape and improvements around the perimeter of the residence that needed to be addressed by this application. The current drive slopes down from Big Fresh Pond Road to a pervious stone parking area. There's an island with mature mountain laurels in the island that aren't faring that well. The applicant has been attempting to prune them in order so that they'll recover. Although the applicant is proposing now a parking area that would require removal of those mountain laurels. He is willing to attempt to salvage and relocate those mountain laurels to the seaward side of the house. The meeting with the landowner was a good opportunity to educate the landowner about concerns regarding deck construction along pond shorelines. We spoke a lot about the issues related to stormwater runoff and the risk of contamination when you have a sloping lawn. The deck was actually built with treated wood, so the applicant was proposing to remove the treated wood and replace that with untreated wood. Deck was built in a pre-existing small brick patio area. The applicant has since agreed to remove those wooden improvements in their entirety to create a simple, heavily wood mulched path leading down the slope to the pond shore, and to establish a significant buffer on the pond side of the house. The lawn would be taken up and the area would be restored with sweet pepper bush, mountain laurels, sedge, and other indigenous vegetation. The applicant was seeking to replace an existing pervious stone walk on the east side of the house with a wood at grade walk. I recommended that those plans be abandoned, that the existing pervious stone path be retained to allow for greater infiltration. There is, I did find an unauthorized PVC drainage pipe to the northwest of the house in the naturally vegetated area. The applicant has agreed to remove that pipe and to install a dry well at the northwest corner of the house to allow for catchment and recharge of roof runoff. Some work was done on the deck area over the years, but it's relatively minor, consisted primarily of minor repairs. So the applicant well understands the need for these changes to his plan, as well as to establish a naturally vegetated covenanted buffer. As the applicant has agreed to the recommended mitigative measures, you have sufficient information to make a determination on this application. Accordingly, I'm recommending that the public hearing requirement be waived.
Motion to waive the public hearing?
Second.
Second.
Resolved that the Town Conservation Board hereby waives the public hearing pursuant to chapter 325, section 325-80 of the Town Code. All in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry?
Aye.
George?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Sunshine?
Aye.
A 021009, Laura Bowden and Lucas Torres.
This application relates to a house which is undergoing renovations along the well-developed Grant Boulevard in the hamlet of Hampton Bays. As indicated in my April 12, 2021 advisory report, property has frontage on a dug basin, referred to as a yacht basin. It does have a very narrow boating navigation inlet that connects to the Tiana Bay. So it is an area where we need to be concerned about maintaining surface water quality. The shoreline of this property has been impacted in years past. There are some boulders along the shoreline, as well as a mix of high tide bush and reeds, as well as decks at grade. The applicant is looking to install a ramp on the landward side of the house for a physically challenged person. Also to construct a planter on the landward side of the house. As you can see, there's a pre-existing swimming pool and a large deck area on the seaward side of the house. The applicant had commenced reconstruction of these deck areas with treated wood. They were cited, they did stop all work. I have recommended that all the treated wood be taken out and that the deck be reconstructed in place with town-approved non-treated wood, inclusive of joist, supports, framework, and deck board, and that untreated wood would be used for the deck stairs. The applicant was initially looking to finish the basement, add a rec room and a bedroom. The applicant got stopped in the midst of that work. As we advised the applicant that in order to issue a wetland permit for such work, he would have to install a new septic system. He has since abandoned the plans to finish the basement and has agreed to remove any of those living area renovations that have been completed so far. There are other interior renovations in the house, but they will not increase the living area. There are some changes that need to be made to existing windows and doors. I have recommended that a covenanted buffer be established on this property. The buffer would extend 25 feet landward of the wetland boundary, which would take in all of the lowland adjacent to the yacht basin. As indicated, the wood decks would be taken up. The fence lines would be removed, as well as existing lawn in that area would be restored to natural vegetation. So the applicant is in the process of getting the survey revised to show same, and will come forward with the necessary native planting specifications and draft covenant. This is an application for which we have sufficient information to make a determination. As such, I'm recommending that the hearing requirement be waived.
Motion to waive the public hearing.
Second.
Resolved that the Town Conservation Board hereby waive the public hearing requirement pursuant to chapter 325, section 325-80 of the Town Code. All in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann, Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
I'm gonna abstain from that one.
Sunshine.
Aye.
A021022, Paul and Susan Matuszewski.
This property has frontage on an interior bulkheaded canal in the private community of Shinnecock Shores in the hamlet of East Quad. The application has been made because, as you can see, the applicant is looking to get a permit to undertake substantial renovations and additions to the existing residence. Also, to add a pool and spa and paver patio area. The property is characterized by a vertical concrete block wall that separates a corridor of lowlands along the bulkhead that's about 25 feet in width, that contains some existing natural vegetation. That wall separates that lowland area from the higher land where the current house and proposed improvements are planned. I will say that the applicant and I have spent a considerable amount of time looking at all alternatives for this property. During that process, we found that existing concrete block wall is failing and will need to be replaced in kind and in place. What you're seeing before you is a partial modified sketch that the applicant has prepared in order to achieve a minimum construction setback from the bulkhead of 30 feet that would be mitigated by a 25-foot wide covenanted buffer. The applicant has also agreed to create an additional 5-foot wide strip of native vegetation on the landward side running the full length of the reconstructed concrete block wall, and also to integrate native landscaping along the northerly property line as well. The stairway, which would run alongside the concrete block wall in order to provide access to the canal, would be constructed with light penetrable decking and be supported by untreated wood posts. The project plans shown to you are consistent with the direction that the Conservation Board has taken with similar application. We do have sufficient information to make a determination as such. Recommending that the hearing requirement be waived. I should also mention that, as indicated on that plan, the applicant is installing an IA or WTS as well.
Motion to waive the public hearing.
Second,
Second.
Resolved that the Town Conservation Board hereby waives the public hearing requirement pursuant to chapter 225, section 225-80 of the Town Code. All in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry?
aye,
George?
Aye.
Ann?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Sunshine?
Aye.
A021031, Bus C. Lazarakis and Anastasia Lazarakis Carlotsis.
This application relates to property on Big Fresh Pond Road in the hamlet of North Sea, on the opposite side of the road from Big Fresh Pond. As you'll see in the northwest corner of the property, there are freshwater wetlands that extend into the adjacent property that is under redevelopment pursuant to a wetlands permit, where there's freshwater pond and red maple swamp. This is a property that has some history, in that years ago, the Conservation Board had issued a permit that allowed for some improvements to the existing residence. The permit was conditioned upon establishment of a maximized restored covenanted naturally vegetated wetland non-disturbance, non-fertilization buffer that takes in descending land between the house and the adjacent freshwater wetlands. The prior landowner had not fully complied with that buffer requirement, in that they were required to remove a secondary driveway from Big Fresh Pond and to restore that area to natural vegetation, as well as to remove pre-existing concrete steps. The property was just sold, and the new owner is looking to construct a second-story addition on the south wing. Also to undertake some other improvements that are virtually entirely within the footprint of existing residence and accessory structures. The deck area, the deck boards are treated wood. The applicant is going to rip up all those treated wood deck boards and replace them with untreated wood. The applicant will be installing fully new innovative alternative on-site wastewater treatment system. I did spend a considerable amount of time with the applicant at the property, touring the interior of the house and the basement as well. The unfinished basement is going to be converted to a finished basement. We, as indicated, spent a lot of time looking at every aspect of this property with regards to how to make this pre-existing residence as conforming as possible with current wetland standards. The existing residence is in good shape, so it will be retained and can support the second story addition. I've already discussed with the applicant the requirements in terms of native revegetation, which he's agreed to. The survey does need to be revised in order to show the drainage for catchment of roof runoff. However, the application will, for which we have sufficient information to make a determination. As such, recommend that the hearing requirement be waived.
Motion to waive the public hearing.
Second.
Resolved that the Town Conservation Board hereby waives the public hearing requirement pursuant to Chapter 325, Section 325-80 of the Town Code. All in favor, Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
A021033, 8 Square Holly Lane LLC.
As indicated by the preliminary report dated April 12, 2021, this application relates to an existing fully bulkheaded property that is in the hamlet of Watermill and fronts on Myers Pond. Upon responding to a lot inspection, notwithstanding the bulkhead, I did find that there was a very small area of freshwater wetland in the far southwest corner of the property. The applicant has agreed to preserve that poorly drained area to establish a perimeter buffer and also to establish a buffer the full length of the bulkhead. The plans as indicated would call for redevelopment of the site and a setback of 50 feet or greater from the bulkhead, the on-site wetlands. A new innovative alternative on-site wastewater treatment system would be installed. The wetlands would be covenanted as well as the buffer. This is an application for which we have sufficient information to make a determination. As such, I'm recommending that the hearing requirement be waived.
Motion to waive.
Waive the hearing.
It's moved, and is there a second?
Second.
Resolved that the Conservation Board hereby waives the public hearing requirement pursuant to Chapter 325, Section 325-80 of the Town Code. All in favor, Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
Resolution to issue modification, CB 200002, Marina Safir Zatz and Boris Zatz. Any discussion?
Move to issue.
Second.
Resolve that a wetlands permit modification be issued to Marina Sapir Zatz and Boris Zatz for the proposed project upon the terms and conditions set forth therein. All in favor? Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
Resolution to reschedule public hearing, A 020025, James Esposito and Jennifer Esposito. Is there a motion to reschedule to May 26th?
So moved.
Motion to reschedule.
Second.
Second.
Resolve the Town Conservation Board hereby reschedules the public hearing to May 26, 2021. All in favor? Harry, aye. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann, Tom,
Aye.
Michael,
Aye.
Sunshine.
Aye.
And I'm at the end of the page. Anything else tonight?
Thing on the back?
Fine,
Okay.
unless you want to write something in.
Well, sometimes we forget to turn it over and there's something we're gonna miss. So as long as you,
I think that's everything.
We don't want to miss an opportunity. Is there a motion to adjourn?
so
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
All in favor? Harry, I. Jerry,
Aye.
George,
Aye.
Ann,
Aye.
Tom,
Aye.
Michael,